Welcome back, dear friends, to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, the home where feelings speak louder than headlines and where every story is guided by the heartbeat behind the fame. Before we begin, remember to subscribe so you stay close to our circle of real emotions. And if you want to go one step further in supporting what we do, tap that join button. Tonight, we open a door that rarely opens on camera, a quiet, careful, deeply human chapter. This is not a tale of rivalry or glittering premieres. It is a confession carried in a whisper, and it belongs to Barış Baktaş and Yağmur Yüksel. In the fast tempo of Turkish television, with its bright lights and watchful eyes, a single look can become a headline, and a pause can be mistaken for drama. Through all of it, Yağmur Yüksel always seemed to keep a different rhythm. Graceful. Self-possessed. A woman who protected her private world like a small, steady flame. Admirers called her calm, a kind of strength. They were right. But calm waters can hold storms beneath. Behind that serene surface, something had been waiting, not impatient, but unwavering, for its moment to breathe. That moment arrived far from any set or red carpet. It happened in the hush of a therapist's office, where the lights are soft and the only audience is the soul itself. According to someone very close to her, Yağmur didn't start therapy for the sake of routine wellness or a polished public image. She went because there were feelings she had folded away, tucked into a place where they couldn't be seen, until they started asking to be seen. Those feelings led back to a name everyone knew, Barış Baktaş. Their story had always carried a certain glow of mystery. When they worked together, fans felt a spark that didn't seem like acting. On screen, the energy between them was so natural that people wondered if the screen was the only place it lived. Both of them chose silence over spectacle. Rumors came and went like the seasons. The truth remained tucked in shadow. Until now. During one quiet session, the world seemed to fall still around Yağmur as she finally stopped protecting the thing that had hurt and sustained her in equal measure. Her voice trembled, but it didn't break. She spoke of a tenderness she had hidden behind her composure for far too long. Then she said his name. The room did not explode. Nothing dramatic happened. But the simple act of giving her feelings a voice felt like thunder after a long summer heat. When her therapist gently asked why she had kept all of this unspoken for so many years, her answer came like breath fogging a window, because naming it felt like risking something she still held close, even if it didn't live the same way anymore. That single thought drifted into the world like a leaf caught in a breeze, and it carried 100 meanings. People online began to write that real love doesn't simply disappear. It changes its shape and finds another place to live. Others said her words reminded them that silence can be faithful and also cruel, that courage can look like tears instead of grand gestures. If you believe that truth and tenderness are stronger than denial, tap like and subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. We don't tell stories just about those who are famous, we share the human echoes beneath the fame. Now, let's return to the quiet storm at the center of this tale. Sources who got a glimpse of the therapist's notes say the conversation went deeper. Yağmur described a memory that never stopped echoing. It was the last time she saw Barış. She remembered the night in fragments, the weight of the air, the way his eyes searched for hers, how her silence felt like a safe harbor and a locked door at once. She let him go without saying what lived in her chest, believing that love, if true, could be understood without the burden of words. Only later did she understand that silence can protect, but it can also leave a bruise. While Yağmur was unraveling her quiet, Barış had been walking his own private road. He is known for restraint, for choosing privacy over performance in the intimate corners of life. But even he, those close to him say, was tracing the lines of the past with his fingertips, seeing where things began to bend. In a recent interview, asked about old loves and lessons learned, he offered a single sentence that sounded like a bridge between two hearts. There are truths you can only carry from heart to heart. It wasn't a confession, not exactly. It was poetry, understated and direct at once. The moment the clip went live, the questions lit up again. Was he speaking about Yağmur? Many believed he was. Later, after word reached him about the session in which she finally spoke his name out loud, he fell quiet. Someone by his side says he stayed in that silence a long while, then let a single thought slip out: when it comes to feeling, she has always been the braver one. It was not a line for press releases. It traveled quickly anyway, not as ordinary gossip, but like a small candle passed from hand to hand. It did not suggest a reunion. It recognized a light that never fully went dark. And it felt like a circle closing, one truth answered by another truth, each finding its own dignity. There was one more detail, tender and stark. In pages she never meant for strangers to see, Yağmur wrote that she hoped he would never keep her memory like a wound. She wanted peace for him, genuinely, even at a distance. She wrote that he had been both shelter and storm, two halves that only the heart knows how to hold at once. When that line surfaced, curiosity turned into a hush. People stopped searching for fireworks and started listening for relief. The question was no longer will they? But can they let go with grace? What would you have done, dear friends? Would you open an old door for the sake of lightness in your soul? Or leave it closed, trusting time to carry what words could not? Share your thoughts below. We read every comment, because your voices are the pulse of Turkish spotlight secrets. As for whether they met again, no one can say for sure. Some say Barış asked for time. Perhaps he wasn't ready to stand inside a room where every unsent sentence might finally be said out loud. Fans, moved by the unfolding gentleness of it all, began to write messages of hope, not for a rekindled romance necessarily, but for a clean and merciful ending. Closure doesn't always look like arms around each other, one wrote. Sometimes it is simply a conversation that lets the heart breathe again. Those words mirrored something essential about Yağmur's journey. Healing doesn't always mean you turn back, sometimes you learn to bless the distance. A close friend of Barış offered a final detail that hit the headlines and then fell into people's chests like a small, heavy stone. She taught him how to love without expecting a return, the friend said softly. And if he could travel backward, he would not let pride speak louder than feeling. You could almost hear the whole world pause for a moment. How many of us have let pride wear the crown while the heart waited in the wings? It was a reminder that the most profound apologies are often never spoken into a microphone. For Yağmur, therapy became a threshold, not a portal back to what had been, but a path forward toward acceptance. In later sessions, witnesses say there was a turning point. Her therapist observed that those who love with all their depth often ache the most, because they hope to be seen and understood without explaining the parts of themselves that feel sacred. Something in those words released the tears she had held for too long. I wanted to be known without having to decode every corner of me, she whispered. Those who saw her leave that day said the air felt lighter, as if the room itself had been rinsed clean. Later she told someone she trusted that maybe this was the missing piece, not reunion, not a dramatic new beginning, but a gentler ending. An ending that could finally stop hurting. The most unexpected echo came from Barış, not in an interview chair, but on stage, award in hand, eyes scanning a crowd that had celebrated his work for years. He paused, a small smile touching his mouth, and said, "Some stories don't conclude, they just learn another way to breathe." The audience cheered, hearing elegance and humility in his words. Those who knew the layers beneath heard a bow toward a woman who had met her feelings head-on. A tribute to a love that did not vanish, it simply shifted its shape and continued quietly, somewhere beyond the need to be named. Soon, fans began to share old clips from their shared screen days, scenes where glances lingered a second longer than the script demanded, where a laugh felt just a bit too real. The comments filled like a tide. Not every love needs to come back, someone wrote. Some love just needs to stop hurting. Maybe that is the heart of this story. It is not a saga of shattered walls rebuilt overnight. It is the unglamorous miracle of release, the choice to let something beautiful become softer instead of broken, to let it live without demanding that it be a forever. And so, dear friends, that is where we fold this delicate chapter, not under a shadow, but under gratitude. Even what is unspoken leaves a warm light behind. If this touched you, show your support by liking the video, subscribing to Turkish Spotlight Secrets, and, if you'd like to keep us telling the stories that hold a mirror to the soul, tap that join button. Until next time, may your heart keep a rhythm that is kind to you, may your endings be gentle, and may every goodbye bring you closer to the part of yourself that knows how to love without fear. This is Turkish Spotlight Secrets, where love, loss, and truth finally find their voice.